dance major from Cupertino, San Jose area. And so Phoebe and Larkin asked me to share about how God has been my protector and through my life. So I'm going to just share a little bit about my testimony. Yeah, growing up, I didn't really go to church, but I believed in God and I thought I knew who He was. But yeah, I went to church a little bit in middle school because my parents were like, let's start going back to church, but then ended up getting busy on Sundays with baseball and stuff. And then I'd have friends that would invite me to church, people that remembered me and just invite me throughout high school, but I'd always be like, oh, I have baseball, or like, oh, I can't go this week. So then, yeah, I think I was kind of scared to go back, but yeah, as high school continued, towards senior year, my friends in high school ended up getting into different things like drugs and alcohol. They would invite me out and do things, but I would always be like, I'm not interested. It's something that I didn't really feel a need or interest in doing. But yeah, they would continue to invite me out as they continued to do it more and more. And yeah, I guess as they continued to invite me out, I was kind of like, I just wanted to get them off my back. So I was like, all right, I'll try second semester senior year. And through that time, my friends from church also continued to invite me out to church. And yeah, they invited me to this retreat in December, and I was like, and they're like, do you want to go? I was like, sure, why not? I didn't really have a reason to go, but I just decided to go. And I think at that retreat, I really learned who God was and not just believing in Him. I think I just really learned what it meant to have a personal relationship with Him. And I think through the speaker's message, I was really convicted to just I accepted Christ at that retreat and just had all these different things on my mind. And when I got back from that retreat, I told my friends, I don't think I'm gonna try those things like later on, second semester senior year. And I think just seeing God's timing and the fact that I went on this retreat in December and a month later would have been like second semester senior year where I could have fallen into all these temptations and could have been led to a different path. But God really just protected me through His timing and all these events and things that He put in my life. And I think that's really just a short story. I think God has been my protector in more ways than just protecting me from bad things. But I just wanted to share this with you because I think it really impacted my life. And now I have to share my own version of Psalm 23. Sorry, I have to. I was tasked with it. I don't know. The Lord is my protector, I shall not fear. He makes me rest in His presence and calms my heart. He leads me beside others to support me. He restores my soul. He leads me to take steps of faith and challenges me for His name's sake. Even though I walk through feelings of inadequacy, doubt, and worry, I will fear nothing, for You are with me. Your love and Your strength, they affirm me. You prepared a table before me, in the presence of those who I struggle to love. You refresh me, and Your love continues to overflow in me. You continue to want me to walk beside You for all the days of my life, no matter what's going on. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Thank You.
Hello, my name is Serena. I'm a third year in architecture, and for me, they proposed this question of how the shepherd has provided for me. When they showed me that question, it was kind of overwhelming because I feel like just reflecting on my life, and especially in college, God has provided a lot, and I didn't want to bore you guys, but I could just put it into three main things. I think God really provided within in community, faith, and the purpose of life, and it seems really cliche, but those are really some of the three things that have resonated with me. But community, I'll start with community, but coming from high school, I thought that it would be easy to find community just because I had a strong group of friends in high school, and I went to pre-college program and I had a really great time there, but it was hard to find community within Cal Poly, and I had some close friendships in the beginning of freshman year, but something like straight away, and it was hard to find community, and it was hard because my major is so busy and I didn't really have like some downtime to get to know people. But God's timing is so great because I was alone. Some part of my fall quarter freshman year, I met these two girls with an Epic. Some of you guys might know Naomi and Georgie, but they were sharing during their D-ship and they stumbled across me, and that's how that's how I knew about Epic. So because of that, I was able to be more involved with Epic, but it was so hard because my first year, I wouldn't say I was super involved with Epic, just because I was so busy with architecture, and there's never really a time where I can go to UU or like hang out with people within my class. But I remember talking to Naomi about it before I went to summer, and I was like, yeah, it's just hard because it's almost like I'm really frustrated at God for putting Epic in my life, because it almost felt like he was kind of teasing me. It's just like, he's putting Epic in my life, but yeah, I don't have time for it. And it was just frustrating. I was frustrated at God at why he would put Epic in my life at that point, because I didn't have time to invest in those friendships. But we prayed about it. And during the summer, I went through a breakup, and it was hard because I didn't have a Christian community back home, so there's no one to keep me accountable in my faith. But after the breakup and after just like going through and talking to the few people I had within my friend group that were Christian, I felt convicted to accept Christ after summer. So on my way drive to SLO, I prayed and I accepted Christ. But then that drive really stood out to me because I prayed about community, and it was hard because I didn't think that architecture was going to get easier. If anything, it was going to get harder. So I was like, I'm just going to pray this prayer, but I don't think I'm going to be super involved because it's not like time just like magically drops. But God made time, and I was able to be more involved with Epic, whether it's just coordinating rides or for large group or anything. But yeah, community was a big part of what God provided for me, and just like the ways that he's planted some friendships, including people that have discipled me, my CG leaders, and like my roommate Ashley. Like, it's just like so amazing how God has placed these people in my life to keep me accountable in my faith. But second of all, he has provided faith in my life. In times where I feel like I'm struggling in school or just realizing how sinful I am, he's given me faith that he's so sovereign that I'm safe in that way. So that's really cool, because I feel like when I'm like looking back in my life, just the fact that there's a time in my life that I couldn't accept Christ. I remember Georgie was talking to me in discipleship, and when she shared the gospel, I couldn't accept Christ because I didn't know who God was. And just, it's so crazy to see how God has softened my heart, and that I'm able to just claim that God is real because of the ways he's answered prayers, and I've been able to see that in my life. So that's been really cool, just being able to see how my prayers have been answered and how I've seen answered prayer in other people. But third of all, he has provided a purpose of life, because I feel like just reflecting my life, even before college, a lot of things that I would do would be because of myself and like for school or for money. But now I can say that I would be doing certain things where I would be just caring for other people and just wanting to serve the Lord the way that he has loved me, and to like expand his kingdom. But those are three things that God has provided for me. And I want to share my version of Psalms 23. It's actually very different than what I was reading in the Bible, but I decided to just keep it because I thought it was really special. The Lord is sovereign and is my Father, therefore I am fully cared for. He knows when I'm stressed and speaks to my life, allowing me to just rest in his peaceful and refreshing presence. He knows what's best for me and will guide me to and in situations according to his will. Though I live in a world full of sinners and chaos, I am not afraid, because the Almighty God I can call my Father is by my side. You've laid every situation possible for me before I could ever imagine. You offer me so much more than I could ever ask for. I know you, God, will always be by my side, and that your grace is beyond I could imagine. Would you give me the heart and forever want to serve and love the way you do? Yeah, that's it. So I'm going to invite Kristen to share her.
My name is Kristen. I am a third-year political science major. And yeah, so Phoebe and Larkin asked me to share about how God has been my shepherd and my king. And I was thinking about this, and I was like, shepherd and king, like that's kind of funny. They kind of like contradict each other, with shepherd being a very lowly position, a position of not really worthy of respect, especially in Jesus' age, and typically it'd be like the position taken by the youngest brother, versus king, which is like, I don't know, deserving of all praise, worship, respect. And so very different things. So I wanted to kind of dive deeper into the relationship between the shepherd and the sheep so that I could like kind of think about how it played out in my life. But yeah, like what does a shepherd do? Like basically everything for the sheep. He feeds it, guides it, tends to it, cares for it, heals it, like blanket, you name it. And he like everything basically. And so he does all of this with a lot of love and concern for each individual sheep in his flock. And so then you turn to the sheep. Like what does the sheep do? Nothing really. Like it just kind of like receives all this stuff from the shepherd, because sheep are like pretty stupid animals. This is like pretty well known. And I was like, how stupid like are sheeps? Sheeps. So then I Googled, how are sheep stupid? Because I was just curious. I wanted to like know from an expert. And so this article came up from a farmer. Wait, stay with me. Titled "The Questionable Intelligence of Sheep." And he said, "I have concluded, based on my years of experience, that sheep are stupid. Not just stupid, but mind-numbingly stupid." Wow! Sometimes I wonder how they manage to breathe and eat. So like that is like a farmer's like experience with sheep. And so there's no denying that a sheep needs a shepherd, needs to belong to somebody in order to like literally live. But also sheep are very prone to wandering off. And so when I looked at my own life, I grew up in the church, grew up with a loving family, and I like accepted Christ when I was like 6. But as I kind of got further into high school, I realized that instead of following the shepherd in my life, I wanted to follow after other things. So a lot of it was like approval from my friends, approval from my classmates, peers, wanting to gain popularity and influence over them, and wanting to accumulate material possessions, feed my pride, and just kind of elevate myself in comparison to those around me. And another one was seeking satisfaction from relationships with guys. And through some of these relationships, I experienced so much shame, so much guilt, and so much sadness and discontent. And it was probably like the furthest I wandered from the shepherd or Jesus. And so at this point in my life, I was like a junior, senior in high school. But I was just so wrapped up in my guilt and just my sadness and just my unfulfillment. And I was trying to like convince myself that I was like doing okay and that I was like handling everything just fine, but I was really just completely lost. So you guys know the song Reckless Love? Yeah. So you know the line where he belts out, leaves a 99? Yeah, so that comes from Luke 15, and it's when Jesus gives a parable of the lost sheep. And basically, it's this parable where the shepherd has a flock of 100 sheep. And there's 99 one day, and he's like, what the heck, where's the one sheep? So instead of just being like, it's okay, I still have 99, he leaves the flock and goes to search for the one. And once he finds the sheep, he like puts it on his back and he rejoices, and he literally like throws a party with his neighbors and his friends. Yeah, check it out, Luke 15. But I realized, I was reading this, and I realized that this was exactly what Jesus did for me. When I was the furthest away that I could possibly get from him and his goodness, he sought me out. He left the 99 to find me and to bring me back to him, even when I didn't know that was what I needed. And so, yeah, I think that is really how Jesus has been my shepherd. So how's Jesus a king? If you guys are familiar with Psalm 23, in verse 3, it says that after it talks about leading them to green pastures and still waters and down paths of righteousness, it says that all of these things are for his name's sake. Not for the sheep, but for his name's sake. And that just paints a picture of how everything points back to Jesus, the King of heaven and earth, the King of my life, the King of your life, the King of everything. And so thinking about my life and what that means, it means that everything I do, everything I say, everything I think should be for the glory of Jesus, my great shepherd and my King. So yeah, that was kind of like how I thought about shepherd and king, and my personal Psalm 23 is this. The Lord is my shepherd, in him I have everything. He gives me rest when I am fatigued. He quenches my thirst forever with living water. He restores my innermost being. He guides me down righteous paths for his glory alone. Though this life may bear trials and hardships, I fear nothing of this world, for you never leave my side. You are with me in my darkest days. You are my able protector and my abundant provider, my comfort. You have gone before me and know the way. Your Holy Spirit resides within me. My cup overflows and my life is abundantly satisfied by you. Your goodness and mercy will be with me all the days of my life, and by your grace I will dwell in intimate fellowship with my Lord forever.